What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Third Person. This is the Third Person Podcast. I am one of your hosts. My name is Kris, and with me, as always, are my boys, Mike.
What's going on?
And Jesse.
How you doing?
What's going on, guys? Today, we're going to be reacting, reviewing, and talking about Westworld, episode number 4, season 1, episode 4, titled Dissonance Theory. So, with that, let's just jump right into the recap of it.
All right, so Dolores joins William and Logan on a bounty hunt. The man in black finds a critical clue in his search to unlock the maze. Dr. Ford and Teresa Cullen discuss the park's future, and Maeve is troubled by a recurring vision. Kind of cryptic, but it's actually a good episode.
Definitely a good episode. Guys, we have a few things we're going to talk about here. This wasn't the most action-packed episode. We kind of consider this to be like a very information-filled episode. So we got a lot of backstory, a lot of inside, some more inside information, and a little more character development, I guess we'd say. Yeah, a
lot of character development.
We're definitely seeing where all these characters are their directions and stuff. So why don't we just start right away with Dolores and what's going on with her in this episode?
All right. Basically, obviously, we're seeing Dolores, who has no place to go since her family has been killed. She's remembering the situation that occurred where her family was murdered, and she's along with Will. We saw that last episode where she collapsed by Logan and Will at the campfire. So we're really seeing her as just remembering what went on and how she's going to react and not know where to go from here. That there's no place for her to go for anymore in, what is it, Sweet Valley?
Sweetwater.
Sweetwater.
Sweetwood is the road I delivered to at my job.
Yeah.
She's got her quest now. So she remembers the fact that her dad died and her mom like you said, she's got nowhere to go. So she's on a quest now. She can't go back. She's only got to go forward. She doesn't know where or how, but that's her thing. And she explains this to William, and William was looking at her like kind of amused. He's like, yeah, but don't you guys usually have like a territory or like a section that you guys
like
roll
a zone
around in?
Or
zone, or that you guys go on like a loop or something? And she's like, what? You're not listening to me, man.
Yeah, she's not about. It's like she canceled that loop out or something. That she's now on her own.
She's out of her loop, right? She's out of her loop,
and she's.
Well, you see that in the beginning of the episode. Bernard still calls her in, even though she's far off the loop.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's the one that's pushing her. He's facilitating this thing with her, and he wants to see where it goes. So so she's which is kind of cruel if you think about it. You know what I mean?
It really
is.
It's cruel if she was manipulating a human, But I guess since it's a little easier since she is some kind of a,
but she's
a
almost
robot.
self-aware, though.
Yeah, no, it is.
Like making her way to self-awareness, which is like...
Yeah. They're super, super advanced,
Yeah.
This is like so cool because they're just so much more advanced than any kind of... anything
we've ever seen.
And
where's the morality in that? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the whole point.
Exactly.
Like, what the hell is the morality behind it? Is there no morality behind it? Right? So, So I mean, I like the scene when she saw the little girl when she was in that town, and they were looking for obviously she's considered, I guess, a stray now, and they're looking for her. So in the world, they put out this essentially an APB on this. On a farmer's daughter, right? And the guy finds her, but before that, she talks to the little girl who gave the information to Ed Harris's Man in Black about where to go next to find the maze. She's talking to her, and she disappears. What'd you guys think of that? Did she disappear, or was it a cut, and then she ran away, and we don't know you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, I don't. I mean,
she drew the map, she drew the maze in the ground.
Yeah, I don't think she disappeared or anything like that. I think it was just kind of like a cut thing, like you said, because we saw, at their foot, at their feet, we saw the map in the ground,
or the
but
maze, could she have imagined it? Like she's been imagining all the other, like her dead dad and like the Man in Black, like she's remembering, not imagining, but because she said, the little girl says, "Oh, we met before, remember?" So
No, she says I'm from the same place as
We're
you.
from,
same place as you.
yeah,
Yeah,
she says,
right.
"Where were you? Yeah, where were you from?"
Yeah.
You know, and she
I
says,
think that's important. I think that's an important thing to remember for the future.
Absolutely,
Is that it for Dolores? Shall we move on?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't go much into her this episode. What do you think, Jess? Did we miss anything with that?
Well, do we want to tie in William and Logan's little quest
Yeah, let's
with
talk
her
about
or
that real
not?
quick. We'll talk about their little side quest. So I'll go right ahead.
Yeah. So they're on this side quest. You picked it up last episode. They're wanting to, or William's wanting to take on a bounty, and they go up in the hill. They have this tracker with them, and more or less beforehand, Logan's like, "Oh, you're gonna screw her?" And he's like, or William's like, what was it? All you do is thinking about drinking and humping or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that all you want to do here?
Yeah,
And more or less, he's like, I give you 2 days. If you haven't done it by then, she's
I'm
mine.
gonna do it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And that's before the bounty. Then they're like, they go in, bust in, shoot up, all sorts of stuff like that. William hides behind a bar like a pansy.
Can't get hurt. Yeah, I don't know why he's probably just in it because it's part of the game. He's probably like
Yeah.
Realism
he knows he can't
factor.
get hurt now, but well, not
But,
really hurt. But
They find the bounty in there. Logan stands over him, smacks him in the head because they're both out of bullets. And he reaches down, picks up the gun, and says, "Oh, look, an upgrade."
right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That was
those
great.
those video game references.
A lot of them. This one, we've already mentioned side quest and player. There's even a mention of a bot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of video game references, and I think they even say video game at one point.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
That's essentially what this park is. It's I think we even said it, like a telltale kind of a game. You make the
Somewhat.
choices, and that's really what this world is about. So we're really just seeing, and we're really getting a lot from, like we did last week, about the robots really remembering, and that's a big key for especially this episode, because we see more of it with Maeve, which we can talk about a little bit later.
Right.
But that's the big key word of these last couple episodes is the evolution starting from this update, that we saw from the beginning, initially the first episode.
I think it's cool. I like how each of them. Well, right now it's Maeve and Dolores who are the two that are really remembering.
The key, yeah,
the two,
exactly.
Right, and each of
The
them are
biggest
having their
effect.
own. Yeah, and they're having their own experiences, which is interesting. Like I feel like. I mean, we'll get back into this when we talk about Maeve, but Dolores is more of like an exploratory nature. Like she's exploring what's happening.
Yeah.
Yes, bad things have happened to her, and she's remembering that, but it's
Exactly.
more of an exploratory type of thing.
Like she never left home or something.
Yeah,
like
right,
she's never
right,
been
yeah.
out in that
Small
expanse.
town girl in a big city type
Yeah.
of thing, out in the big
Exactly.
world. Where Maeve is, and like I said, we'll get into it at the end. Towards the end, she's having a completely different experience. So
Yeah.
so definitely.
All right.
And I enjoyed the whole Logan and William going Black Hat and changing the side quests like Logan said. It's you found an Easter egg, with the guy saying my boss will pay you more, whatever this and that. So so that's definitely cool. So speaking of going Black Hat, why don't we talk about Ed Harris, Man in Black,
Okay.
and where he is in this episode.
Yeah. I guess, I'll go with it. Basically, we see Ed Harris along with, Lawrence. And they're, obviously Ed Harris's agenda, the gunslinger, is to find keys to this maze and the next piece of the puzzle.
To get him to the maze, right, yeah.
To get to the maze, or whatever that may be.
Whatever, yeah.
Exactly. So he gets some information about the head of the snake that he gets from the same little girl, right? You said from
Lawrence's daughter.
Lawrence's daughter, exactly. That talks to Dolores.
Yeah.
So on their travels, Lawrence and the gunslinger, they actually cut the head off of a snake, the Men in Black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously that wasn't, the clue that they needed, but they do see a woman bathing with this huge snake tattoo in the lake.
He's like, oh, that's it. It
That's
wasn't
what
this.
we're
It
looking
was.
for.
He's
Some
like,
hot
oh,
chick
that's what it is. Yeah,
with her
so-
boobs out. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
with the boobs out. Yeah, her name is Armistice. We
Armistice, yes.
Right.
So after the encounter between them, there's a big deal, and Armistice is a part of the initial gang with Hector. We saw that in, what was that, last
Episode
episode,
one.
or that
Episode
was when they came into town? That was that whole different narrative.
Yep, that was episode 1. That was their distraction.
Yeah.
Was that episode
So
1 or 2?
It might have been. It might have been
2?
either way. She's a part of this rebel gang.
1.
That's on the outskirts of town, and they kind of strike up a deal. Ed Harris's character and Armistice, saying that I will provide you, with a cool little trick of getting your boy, Hector out of prison, and you just feed me a little bit information, about what I need to know about this maze. And Ed Harris is now going to go to the jail where Hector is located to bust him out. He makes that deal with Armistice, and very sneakily and very cleverly, he busts Hector out of that prison and brings him way on back to Armistice, and she gives him the information that he needs about her snake tattoo and appearance. We get the information that at one point when Armistice was young, or her backstory that she was 7 years old, that a group of rebels or just
Outlaws.
a gang of, come in, leader, the name Wyatt, comes in and slaughters her town, her family, and revenge is all she thinks of from that moment on. She uses the blood from the men that came into the town to paint and to finish up the tattoo, except for that last piece, that cobra head, that snake head that's on her face.
Yeah, so she's killed all. She's gone on her
Yes.
bout of revenge, killed all these guys, used their blood,
Yes.
and now she's looking for Wyatt.
Yes, and now Wyatt is that last piece of that puzzle, and that's the information that she passes along to Ed Harris.
Ed Harris. So we have another character that now has a connection to Wyatt. So obviously
Yes.
Wyatt is connected into this new narrative that Robert Ford is making. So with that information, Ed Harris decides he takes Lawrence, and which I find hilarious that Lawrence still has that rope around his neck.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So they they head out to the hills to go find Wyatt, and they stumble across Teddy, who was strung up and is still alive, and he tells Teddy, says, put me out of my misery, and Ed Harris says, no, we're not done. We're not done with you, or something, I got something
Yeah,
for you, I got
kind of
something
cuts
for your
him
ass.
free.
So he takes him, so I mean, I guess that was pretty much it with Ed Harris. Very, very cool stuff, like with the dynamite and the cigar, and how he breaks him out. A lot of cool little things with Ed Harris. Trying to think, was there anything else with that? Because we could roll that right into Robert Ford and his little rendezvous.
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, it's just pretty much, now Ed Harris has the piece that
The
next kind
piece
of
the puzzle.
clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, to find what he's looking for.
Yeah, so he's going to head over to Wyatt, and that should be an interesting...
Exactly. There'll be
situation,
some
yeah.
kind of altercation.
Because those guys are
between-
crazy. Those fucking guys, whatever.
The man with the devil horns.
Whatever they are, yeah, whatever. They're and they I don't know, they couldn't be killed or whatever at the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's move. You want to move over to Ford and talk about his little meeting with Teresa Cullen? Cullen, is that her name? Teresa Cullen?
Teresa
yes.
Cullen.
Teresa. I didn't know if it was Cullen or not.
Yeah, it's Cullen. His very Hannibal Lecter moment.
All right, take
Yes.
it away, man. Go for it, Jess.
So they're at a sit down in a little restaurant in the middle of nowhere on the park, and she mentions something about, oh, I was here when I was what was it, 7 years old?
Something like that,
Yeah.
7 years
like
old
that.
for everybody.
Yeah.
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 she's like, I don't know if I sat at this table or that table. And later we learned out that it was the table they're sitting at.
Exactly.
But to get there, you have to go through this whole thing where she's from the backers at Delos, and they're worried that Ford's going off the wire, going way beyond what he should be, spending money needlessly. And he more or less says, don't worry about what I do, worry about the money that comes in from it. That just sums it up perfectly, because he's making something that'll make more money than what they currently have.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not a man of sentiment. And to prove his point, he takes a strip miner and goes through there.
Starts to decimate the whole area.
But I know you guys had a fascination with that one scene with the AI, didn't you? With the wine.
Oh, just the control. Yeah, just the overall control that Ford has. He even mentions it that at one point they speak about Arnold, which at one point was a partner in the narratives with Ford way back, and how here
he went crazy.
He went crazy, but basically that they felt that they were gods, and everybody else that was here were just guests. That they can control the breeze that goes along every blade of grass. That they control these robots that are pouring the wine, and he's making points of this obviously by that one waiter that he allows over pour Teresa's glass. And she obviously, in a threatening way, he says, just don't get in my way. And that,
no, he actually said, I'm going to ask you very politely.
Yeah, he says, don't get in my way.
Don't get in my way. He made sure to make it to be very polite.
Of course,
to her,
so it didn't sound like the super, but he could have said whatever he wanted to. that time.
But one thing.
But that was totally, don't step on my toes. Let me do what I'm gonna do.
He says, I'm not. He says, I'm not crazy. He says, Arnold may have gone crazy. I'm not crazy. I know what the deal is. I know what's going on. And I think the coolest thing to take away from that whole thing is that the character, Anthony Hopkins, the way he's playing it and the way they're making him is he's very sinister. He's not this sentimental, feeble-minded creator of this world who's living in the past. He's like this guy who's like a fucking supervillain at this point.
He's totally in control. He even says, "You guys think I've gone mad?"
Yeah, and he's,
by such a large change that he's bringing upon the park. So there's a lot involved in that, and we
even get a sneak peek into what he does for monitoring people too.
Well, that's true. He does tell Teresa that he knows what goes on. He knows that she's having this fling with Bernard. And he even says to her, he says, we know everything about our guests and we know everything about our employees. So that's a very cryptic way, I think, Jesse used that word. Yeah. So, he's not playing.
No, not one bit.
He's awesome.
He's
I like it. I love the fact that they made him not what he originally appeared to be. That he's like he's
cast
a mastermind.
the perfect character for that.
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. Very very interesting that I kind of see him as like the villain at this point for some reason, and I feel like the people
not
that
the
are
villain.
I guess we don't know.
He's the
we don't know.
Kind of the anti-hero.
I don't know about that yet. I don't know.
He's
on the outside world, maybe.
Question mark.
I think on the outside world, he's the protagonist. On the inside world, you have a bunch of people that play protagonists. But I think on the outside world,
maybe he's just God. Put it that way.
Yeah, I feel like we have to root for like Elsie and Bernard, for those two, because they're like in the middle of this thing.
I don't feel that way. I feel like I want to see. I guess we won't generally know until we find out what he's doing.
Yeah.
If he's building, some torture chambers, or we don't know, his motives about what the extent of these changes are. So I guess we'll see that, upcoming, and a little guy. Yeah. So Ford is just badass. To sum it up, and he's not taking any crap from anybody. He's doing what he's going to do, and he's leaving. He's trying to make a big impact on this park.
Yeah, he's trying to change things up.
Yeah.
I guess that's it for Ford.
Let's jump over to the other crazy loony bin robot who's having all these crazy ideas and remembrances and dreams and whatnot.
Yeah. She's Tandy Newton. She's playing it really well. You want me to field this one?
Why not?
So what I had said earlier in this episode was that the fact that she's got her own experiences, and her experiences are just not nice. She woke up in the middle of getting operated on. She's having these nightmares about being operated on and being taken away and being hurt and this and that.
Or you remember her past character with the daughter she was remembering.
Yep. So she's having this wicked experience, and in this episode, she ends up getting shot. One of the players, I call them players, but one of the guests decides to get drunk, and he's shooting up the whole saloon.
I don't think that was a guest.
You don't?
No, because she's having a flashback, and the same people are there.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I thought it might have been because it's just the way he was casually shooting people, and no one was shooting him.
Who knows?
Anyway, the point is, she gets shot. She gets taken back. Obviously, they get taken away, and she's getting cleaned up. But all of a sudden, they're telling her that they're telling the technicians that, oh no, they want her back on the floor, so get her patched up and put her back in. And he's like, well, I didn't. He goes, okay, but I didn't take the piece of
the bullet out.
I didn't. He's like, whatever, patch her up, put her back out there. She wakes back up, and she's like, back in the same loop, and she's like, oh shit, and she's like, oh my god, I was shot. So she's starting to remember more and more, and the same thing with Dolores. They're starting to remember more and more consecutively now. So every time they get put back, they're coming back and remembering. So, I mean, Dolores isn't dying, but every time she speaks to Bernard, it seems like.
Yes.
But
she has died before and done the same thing over and over again.
But recently she hasn't died. Like, she didn't die last episode. She died No, she didn't even die that time. She got shot last episode, but she didn't die. She
didn't get shot last episode.
She didn't get shot. She thought she was going to get shot. Right. So, anyway, the point is, Maeve, she's now convinced that, so she's seeing this image of one of the technicians in their clear plexiglass masks, and
suits.
She runs so she runs upstairs. She takes her clothes off. She's looking for any type of scar. There's no scar. She does find a little blood on her knickers there, but so then she goes over and she starts drawing a picture of the creature or whatever what
do we call them? The
shade.
The shade. Well, we find that out later on. That's what they call them. But later on, so she opens up a board in her floor where she, I guess, hides things, and she has this idea. I'm going to take this drawing. I'm going to hide it and let it, so no one can see it. Turns out there's more of them in there. So she's been having
like 7 more.
Coming to that same board.
She's
been having this. She's been remembering being put on the table and fixed and all the time.
Several times.
So that was kind of freaky. And then she wants some answers. So we go back. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going to say, well, she gets the answers because Hector supposedly knows of what the Indians' religion. They mentioned how the Indian
so they have the natives, right? So the natives are walking through the town, and she spots this one little girl that has a totem, or doll, really, for us, but they consider a totem, of that same looking, kind of looks like a robot to me, like an old timey robot.
It looks like a 50s, a rendition of
But it's what she drew. So she's like, "What is this? What is this?" And come to find out, they think that's a totem of theirs that they to represent their gods or spirits or something like that. So Hector comes back to town. After Hector gets busted out from Ed Harris's character, him, Armistice, and the whole rest of the gang go and initiate that whole safe robbery that they did previously that we saw.
Except this time there's a twist.
Right. So what's the twist? Go for it.
We actually get to see more of the control room this episode. We got to see it with the dynamite earlier. And this time they say, you know what? Jam the guns.
They've
send
had
them
their
to jail.
fun, jam the guns,
Yeah.
Send more people
and then
initially,
we'll send a prostitute with a key in their food later.
Yeah, so we definitely got to see more of the behind the scenes, which they're like inching out to us,
Yeah.
But we can talk about that at the very end. but so what happens is she goes and she takes Hector upstairs and makes a little deal with him. Like, listen, I'll give you the key, the combo to the safe if you help me out. She explains,
give me that info.
Yeah, she explains, I was shot. He's like, you have no scar there. She's like, I know, but I'm telling you, I was shot. So basically, she wants him to cut her open and grab the bullet. He won't cut her open. She does it herself, and she says, look, I'm not going to ask you fucking twice. Put your hand in here and pull this bullet out. So he does, and there's a bullet in there, and they're looking at each other. And what does he say again? Hector says something.
She says that, or he's like, what does this mean? She's like, none of this even matters.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Because they're about to get shot, so.
Yeah, and then the sheriff and the constable come and know that they're in that room, and then the episode ends with them getting, shot through the door or whatever. So,
yeah.
So like I said, Maeve, poor gal. She's not having a fun time like Dolores in her little whimsical quest to fucking go to see the big city type of deal.
Yeah.
So
she's
like Maeve going to be whimsical long, probably.
Well.
No, she's. I don't think the whimsicalness is gonna last. But yeah. So Maeve is, So like I said, I'm right now it's like completely, ends of the spectrum between the two main hosts that are experiencing their awakening. I'm gonna go ahead and dub it the awakening, because that's what's happening to them. They're becoming self-aware.
An awakening.
Yeah. They're becoming self-aware, and I just love the way they're doing it. I think it's really great. So yeah, so she pulled a bullet out of herself, and she's like, I was dead. So now what's gonna happen? Now she's gonna die again, and remember that? Like, it's pretty. You have these, and you see what's kind of cool is that they're separating all these characters. They're separate but not separate, and then at some point they're all going to come together in the culmination.
The question is, when will Teddy start remembering stuff?
Yeah, we're gonna. He's already. There's already been inklings of him remembering. Like in the first episode when he was shot in the chest, he's like on the train after he's brought back. He's like rubbing his chest, and so he does remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the last we saw him, he's strung up, and I don't think he didn't die. So he's obviously with Ed Harris. He's going to be with Ed Harris. I don't think he's dead. So he has yet to go back into his next life, I guess. But I mean, and like you said, there were just a lot of fun things. Like we got the control room. I'll just mention that one more time because they specifically, like when Mike mentioned with getting Hector out. There was dynamite in the cigar, and he strikes a match. And as soon as he strikes a match, a control room engineer says, hey, we have a request for pyrotechnics.
Yeah, 2 pyrotechnics at grid, whatever.
Yeah. And he's like, approved, and Stubbs approves it. And then
they're
like
just overall watching everything. They watch
and
every
I just think
little
it's
thing.
Real time, yeah. Like so, that's
that
like a
goes on in this
24-hour
park.
real time thing,
Oh,
and they're
absolutely.
approving things, and it just makes you show.
That's got to be the biggest bunch of perverts, man.
Oh, yeah. You think that they probably do like psyche valves to like make it like, oh, listen, I have to go to the bathroom, and they go jerk off or something and come back or whatever. Instead of a smoke break, it's a jerk break.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, man. I think it's cool because we're watching this and we're like involved in the story down in the West, down in the world. Meanwhile, up top, it's literally they're controlling everything. And even and Logan even says it to William. Remember? He says to him, he's like, "Oh, that's kind of cool that they, they gave her to you." Like, he's like, "They're not watching me." William says, and he's like, "Oh, well, you
they don't
think
care
so?"
about my happiness.
Yeah, they don't care
like
about what I'm doing in the park and stuff. And they're like, "Oh, you don't think so?" You know what I mean? Like, So I mean, like I said, not an overtly action-packed episode, but definitely a lot of things happening. The overall arc being Robert Ford's new experience and narrative with Wyatt, and now he's bringing in all these other characters. Very cool. I'm loving the game references. We got Easter egg. We have upgrade. We've got a lot of things,
side quests, stuff like that.
A lot of side quests, right? Yeah. And another thing that we had talked about off camera was the fact that all the players or guests are just like talking to the hosts as if they know that they're robots.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened multiple times. You had
multiple times this episode.
Ed Harris talking to Armistice in that gang. You had William talking to.
He even says this is a game, and I want to get to the deeper level or something like that. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just really cool. I enjoyed it. I think I might have enjoyed it, the most at this point. I mean, last episode was pretty cool. Each episode has their own thing, which is fun. There's not many of them, so you want each episode to have their own standout.
There was a good tie-in this episode, though. Did you notice it?
Yeah. Wait, with what?
With that robot. Remember last episode they said, "Oh yeah, they don't dream. All they have is memories of being operated on, and we program them to be nightmares."
Well, that was from the past, yeah.
Yeah, they put it down there, like, okay, introduce the new natives, and make their god us. That way they can explain those dreams.
Good point. Yeah, that's right. That's why they. Okay, yeah. Good point. Yeah. So the totem slash shade that Maeve is seeing, they work into like the some of the characters' lore,
religious views and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. To be like, oh, that's what that is when they see that, and it's their visions or their vision quest. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, so they got their shit together. They know they know what they're doing.
Preemptive narratives.
Yeah. So, I mean, anything else, guys? I think we fucking covered a shit ton of
we covered it in detail.
Yeah.
I don't have anything extra to add.
Yeah. No? Yeah. No. I mean, it was definitely a good episode. And I guess, like we said earlier, it might not have been the most action packed, but we got a lot of information.
A lot of information, yeah.
Especially
it was packed full of other content.
Yes, exactly. It was packed. It was
some backstory, some forward stories, some side stories, some a lot of cool little gags. I know, Mike, your favorite is the dynamite. I know that was pretty dope.
Yeah, no, the dynamite was definitely cool.
I like when it blew up in his face, man.
Yeah, that was probably the most graphic part of. Well, besides,
so fun. Oh, can we just mention Lawrence? We can't leave without mentioning Lawrence.
His hair.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's a little Easter egg you found.
So the first scene we see him in this episode, his hair is long, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, his hair wasn't that long. Yeah. Then the next scene, it's short like it was when we first met him in the previous episodes. And then the next episode, it wasn't quite as long as the first scene, but it was longer than the second scene. And it's like, what the hell? So obviously reshoots, but they were probably like, he might be working on something else where he couldn't shave his head again.
Maybe.
Who knows? But it really doesn't matter. But it was very noticeable to me. I think
Kris
we were all like, what?
Quick.
And then the other cool thing was they did it again when Ed Harris comes in and wipes out all the guys that were about to kill Lawrence, and all it is zooming into Lawrence's face, and then it pops out again. Like they did that twice.
Yeah, you see people in the background get shot and stuff.
Again, yeah, same type of deal like it was when we met Lawrence first. So I thought that was.
Then it goes black, and then the blindfold comes down, and you're staring at Ed Harris.
He's staring at Ed Harris. Yeah, I thought it was fun. Ed Harris, I'm liking what's going on with him too. He's he's hamming it up out there as the Man in Black. It's good stuff. So, all right, guys, I think if that's it, we're going to call it a show. If you guys want to get to us, you can look down below there. You see on the bottom of the screen, it says Third Person Pod. That's us. We're going to be, we're going to be at Comic-Con.
Yeah, we're going to be at Madison Square Garden.
No, you can get to us there, guys. Thank you so much for all the comments. We appreciate all the comments you guys have been giving us, all the support. We love it. Keep it coming. If you have any suggestions, if you have any comments on what's going on, please let's continue this conversation. That's what we're here for. Anything else?
That's it, fellas.
No, you want to just get to us? And that's what we're going to do. Okay, so for Third Person, this is Kris.
This is Mike.
And I'm Popo. Oh, wait, no, that's the wrong thing. I'm Jesse.
That's Jesse.
Thank you so much, guys. We love you, and we'll see you next episode. So peace out.